and how important it is in different areas and all. And especially the product profile that we have defined and we are working on it recently. So I am going to give a talk on improved pearl millet cultivars for higher productivity and nutritional security. So when we talk about pearl millet is majorly grown in Africa and Asia. These are the two important continents that contribute more than 90% of pearl millet area production. So when it comes to Asia, India has more than 80% of the area, that is of 12 million hectares, more than 80% is in India. In India, it is the area under pearl millet is divided mainly into 3 different zones. That is zone A1, zone A, and zone B. In zone A1, it is constituted by northwestern parts of India. That is parts of Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Haryana, receiving less than 400 mm of annual rainfall. In zone A falls under northern and central India. It includes parts of Rajasthan, Gujarat, Haryana, and entire pearl millet growing areas of Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, and Delhi. These areas receive more than 400 mm of rainfall, and these have sandy loam soils. It is a highly productive zone for pearl millet, and most of the production of pearl millet comes from this zone A. And zone B is constituted by peninsular India, with the major states of Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh constituting this zone. And this zone receives, where the pearl millet is grown, more than 400 mm of rainfall, and it has heavy soils and mild temperatures. So when we come to zone B, again there are differences between Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu and AP also. It is a highly variable zone. So you can see in this map how the zones are divided. See, parts of Rajasthan, especially the desert areas, these constitute zone A1. Here, pearl millet is the sole crop and no other cereal can be grown in these regions. You can see towards the left side, the crop that is in the Bikaner district of Rajasthan. So entire area in that in the Kharif season is covered with pearl millet. So with the initial rains that is received during the monsoon, they take up the sowing, and that particular cultivars which mature before 70 days, 75 days are preferred in this zone, because that the rainfall that is received less than 400 mm is within that short span of time. And especially when we go towards extreme parts of Western India, they receive as less of 150 mm of rainfall, and it is spread over a short duration of time. So pearl millet cultivars are highly variable. When we talk of pearl millet, the cultivars, especially what we breed for, fit into 2 distinct idiotypes. So one particular idiotype is such that it is of medium height, early maturity, very high tillering, and with good fodder yield. The second type of idiotype is it's almost a single or 2 panicles. Maximum it will be having 1 more tiller, and it has very productive panicle with greater panicle length and width, and it is highly suitable for productive regions. Why high tillering types are preferred for this desert ecology is, suppose during the flowering period, there is rainfall is not received, then there is a problem of this sterility. So seed may not set properly. So if the seed doesn't set properly in the main panicle, there is a very chance of getting yield from the tillers. So usually very high tillering pearl millet is preferred in the western, northwestern regions of Rajasthan. So you can see the Rajasthan farmers also in this picture. So as we have discussed this, the states of Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Haryana, and Gujarat, they account for 93% of total area and 92% of total production. And Rajasthan alone, it contributes towards 50% of area. And in that 50% of area, 50%, that is total 25% of total of Pearl Millet area of India is grown in the drought ecology. That is highly arid regions of Rajasthan and Gujarat and Haryana, that part of desert areas. So the cropping pattern is such that this crop is mainly grown as a kharif crop because it is grown with in the rain-fed situations only, and where no other, usually where no other cereal crop is grown, this crop is preferably grown. So it is grown in all these states of Rajasthan, Maharashtra, UP, Gujarat, and all. It is grown as a kharif crop. But also in certain areas, it is grown as a rabi crop also in certain parts of Andhra Pradesh. And as a summer crop, this crop has very high productivity. Around it also it gives up to yield up to 5 tons per hectare as a summer crop. It is grown in mainly in Gujarat and parts of UP, Karnataka, and even in parts of Maharashtra also. It is grown as a summer crop. Apart from this cropping pattern, we are also exploring to grow this crop in other regions of India also. With the changing climate scenario, wherever like there is, this crop fits well. Where there is residual moistures or where there is no proper moisture or drought is there, or this crop doesn't require much of nutrient management. This crop is not affected by pests. Pests are not a big problem in this crop, but it is affected by one or two diseases, which is mainly controlled through breeding. So this very well fits well even in different ecologies. In between, if there are 75 to 90 days duration also, we can take this crop. And also where other that nutrient requirement is not there much, so we can take it as an alternate crop. We are also exploring a new avenues for growing this crop. So average productivity is 1.2 ton per hectare, but usually the achievable yields are up to 2 to 3 tons per hectare of grain and 4 to 9 tons per hectare of fodder. So depending on the locations. And fodder is a very important component of northern and northern western India. Because unlike in other parts of India, the livestock population is up to 1.5 per 1%. So the livestock, fodder for livestock is very important. It is more important than the grain. Hence, the crop videotype as well, it fits well to cater to the needs of the livestock. So you can see the development that has went into development into the increasing the productivity of pearl millet. Over the span of 50 years, a total of 165 improved cultivars were released in this crop. So initially what happened is when initially they were OPVs only. So when hybrid technology came into the picture, so it was based on a few A lines and restorers. So what happened is the downy mildew became, it came in a huge way and it reduced the yield of hybrids more so that OPVs looked rather promising. Then the breeding has started to build in for resistance to downy mildew. And from there, there has been an intense increase in the crop productivity at the rate of 6.3 kg per hectare per year. This is much more as seen in as compared to other cereals. The increase, it went to over 20 to 25 kg per hectare per year in the past 25 years. The reasons for this improvement is the cultivars that were bred for that particular agroecological zones and the major disease epidemics were controlled. There was involvement of private sector to disseminate this improved cultivars that took it to the farmers because hybrid technology was in place. And also to a certain extent in productive ecologies, the farmers were adopting the improved technologies. So, however, there are yield gaps. Why? Because even in certain arid parts, there is lack of adoption of improved cultivars. Because farmers usually they believe in the land races. Because land races definitely they have this what you say is the quality component, better roti making quality, the taste, and also farmers over the decades, over many hundreds of years, they are used to those cultivars and they believe the cultivars to yield even in the drought years. So they have this lack of adoption of improved cultivars in certain areas, especially where land races are grown. And also it is usually grown under low soil fertility conditions. And usually it is taken up with rain-fed farming only without any irrigation facility. And also the farmers usually they do not apply any external inputs to this crop. And also improved management practices are also not adopted usually. And they usually they go to the areas where like hilly tracts or certain areas where they just do the broadcasting and they just don't bother about the crop and they get certain yields. So the recommended package of practices are usually generally they don't follow. And also there is a lack of functional seed production and distribution programs for certain areas. Not all areas. In productive ecology, the private sector is very active. In certain areas, there is lack of production and distribution of improved seed of improved cultivars. And it is mostly grown in areas with drought and heat stress where other cereals cannot be taken up. So the cultivar options in this crop are diverse. Since the CMS system is also in place, we have two major cultivar options, that is open pollinated varieties and hybrids. Open pollinated varieties usually they are heterozygous in heterogeneous population. We all know that individual plant is heterozygous and as such there is a lot of variability in the population. It is usually the OPVs that are available is developed by random mating of 5 to 10 full sib or S1, S2 progenies or even up to 50 progenies. The high yielding inbred lines, what we say, they are just random mated and improved over the existing populations. Then what we do is we keep the characteristics of greater visual appeal, like uniform flowering, uniform plant height, uniform panicle shape, size, like grain shape, size, color also is kept uniform. Such type of progenies are selected and they are advanced further and taken for testing purpose. But one thing is there is a lot of variability in the population. Suppose we are releasing a variety, if it is grown in Maharashtra, suppose as for example, for certain years, then the Pearl Millet variety changes towards the variety that is grown in Maharashtra may not look similar to that is grown in Rajasthan because there is a genetic shift in the population due to this environmental factors. However, hence it can be fine-tuned for specific adaptation. So what is the advantages of these open pollinated varieties? As we all know, there is a genetic heterogeneity. This heterogeneity helps the variety to be resistant against certain diseases like which are more prevalent in this crop like downy mildew, ergot, smut, offlate blast. There is no resistant sources, suppose say for any disease, then it is preferable to go for OPVs. There, because of that heterozygous heterogeneity, we get resistance and yield in these varieties. And we all know that inbreds, due to this cross-pollinated nature and dominance nature of gene action for several traits in Pearl Millet, we have heterosis, higher level of heterosis in Pearl Millet. So the inbred lines are very low yielders. And when we cross them, we get hybrids, which are very high yielders. And these OPVs fall in between the inbred lines and hybrids. Generally, the seed yields are 2 to 3 times higher than inbreds, but lower than hybrids. And these are OPVs are readily acceptable to farmers, especially in the marginal situations where farmers do not want to have expenditure on seed. But if they want to put expenditure on seed and that too in productive ecology, they will definitely get double the yields. So this is especially recommended for arid ecologies. So these are generally easy to multiply. There is no need to purchase seed again and again. And these OPVs are highly popular in drought-prone regions. They have up to 10% fodder yield advantages also over hybrids because of this highly tillering nature of these OPVs. But usually the yields, grain yields are 25% or even more. They are lesser yields. So we have popular varieties that have been successfully grown over the decades in pearl millet, like ICTP 8203. That is improved for iron and zinc. Now it is known as Dhanshakti also. Then ICMB 221, it is a drought tolerant variety. Then Raj 171 is again a drought tolerant variety. So certain varieties are even popular with the farmers even today. So these are certain varieties. Usually varieties that released from IRA Delhi, they are named after Pusa composites. So you can see certain Pusa composites. These are generally adaptable to zone A, productive ecologies. They generally develop these varieties. So this is one of the Pusa composite variety that was resistant to downy mildew with a grain yield of around 2.3 tons per hectare and dry fodder yield up to 7 tons per hectare with a duration of 80 days. Almost all the cultivars of pearl millet, generally they mature before 3 months. So the duration of maturity is from 70 to 90 days in different cultivars of pearl millet. So this is one more Pusa composite 612. This has very compact ear heads and duration is 84 days. This is one more that is popular with the farmers. This composite was released for arid ecology. It has a bit lower grain yield, 1.7 tons per hectare. With duration, you can see here, 76 days with rod-shaped ear heads and up to 4.5 tons per hectare of dry fodder yield. This is resistant to downy mildew. This is a very promising variety that is equivalent to like a farmer's land race also. This is MBC2. This is grown in highly arid ecology. This is a drought tolerant composite released for zone A1 with 1.5 tons grain yield and 4.2 tons of dry fodder yield. From this composite was involved in the breeding program and it is a part of several parental lines of the breeding program. So we could obtain very good heterosis using it in our parent areas also. So that is with respect to the open pollinated varieties. When we come to hybrids, we all know that single crossed hybrids are popular in pearl millet and they are based on A1 CMS system. Also, other types of hybrids also can be bred, like we can cross an OPV with an inbred seed parent. So that hybrid will be in between OPV and the hybrid with benefits of OPV. It will be a bit more better yielder than OPV with characteristics like heterogeneity, the tolerant to pest diseases, such things will be with respect to OPV and better yielding than OPV. Then one more interpopulation and intervarietal hybrids can also be produced. These are not usually available in the market, but this is developed with crossing an OPV with a male sterile population. It is also as variable of as OPVs with greater yields than OPVs by 30 to 40%. But the single cross hybrids based on A1 CMS system is only popular, and more than 90% of hybrids are based on A1 CMS system only. The first commercial hybrid, HB1, it was released from Punjab Agricultural University. You can see here, so the students who have been, I think, who are in breeding, they generally know that TIFT 23A was a source of this A1 CMS system. So when this initially it was introduced, this was used as a female parent and this hybrid has been developed from PAU Ludhiana and it was released in India in 1965. But as soon as it was released, it was successful for 1 or 2 years. And then there was downy mildew epidemic. So then the hybrids came to a back track. Then again, breeding for downy mildew has started. So private seed companies in India are the most dominant and reliable sources in this for commercialization of hybrids in pearl millet. So highest priority is given to grain yield and downy mildew resistance. Of late, blast resistance is also targeted. And maturity duration, usually we breed for 75 to 85 days, keeping the target. But for late maturity segment is also very popular, especially in peninsular India for 90 to 95 days also, farmers are preparing such kinds of hybrids. So when we come to the hybrid pairings, so Burton first reported A1 CMS system. It is widely used. Apart from this, we have alternate CMS systems also, A2, A3, A4, A5, AV. So, but among these systems, the alternate systems that we are exploiting is A4 and A5 CMS system. Why? Because A2, A3 CMS systems are highly unstable with very high frequency of pollen sheddings. And also A1, AV have low frequency, but AV is not, usually we are not using them due to paucity of restorers. And A4, A5 CMS systems are also, we are increasingly working on them, especially in the summer segment. Because for summer Pearl Millet hybrid, they are producing very high yields, and also there are no pollen shedders in them. They are highly stable. But you can see here, the maintainer frequency is high for A5, A4, and that means restorer frequency is very less. So for A1, suppose we get 100 restorers, we get only 1 or 2 restorers for A4, A5 and A4 CMS systems. Otherwise, the CMS systems are very highly stable and the hybrids based on them are very high in this. And the cytoplasm studies were also done around a decade back, whether they are also influencing any epidemics, because you have seen in maize also, no? That Texas, the cytoplasm, it caused epidemic of leaf blight. So when we checked both in sorghum and Pearl Millet, it was checked. So in Pearl Millet, we have found that cytoplasm is not associated with the downy mildew susceptibility. And also there was no differences. Cytoplasms also did not contribute towards any yield differences, except that A4 cytoplasm showed 5% lesser yields. But in the hybrids that we breed, we have identified specific combinations which are, the hybrids are very high in this. So as we noted for this maintainer frequency, here we can see restorer frequency is also very low for A5 followed by A4 and A1. And excellent restorers are available with both public and private sectors for all these CMS systems. So you can see some of the hybrids I'll show you. This is 86M86. So in Pearl Millet, usually when we say Pioneer is a brand name which is popular with the Rajasthan farmers. So this is one of the hybrids of Pioneer that was released through national system. This is 86M86. This is one of the hybrid developed by Kaveri Seeds. This is developed by Nandi Seeds. Nandi Seeds usually we have these summer hybrids. This is also, you can see, one of the private sector hybrids. This is Pratap, one of the private sector hybrids. Apart from that, there was also focus public sector hybrids. We also focused for high iron and zinc nutrients in the grain, because the concept is the Pearl Millet is produced as well as consumed in the areas which are arid ecologies, where other cereals are not grown and mostly consumed as a staple. And this is the only available cereals for the population residing there. So if we target higher iron and zinc in Pearl Millet, breeding for iron and zinc, then it will contribute towards nutritional security in the for the people consuming Pearl Millet. So with this in mind, it was mandated in Agricon Pearl Millet that minimum iron content should be 42 ppm and minimum zinc content is fixed at 32 ppm. If it is less than that, then the hybrids will not get released. Apart from that, there is a separate segment of highly biophytified Pearl Millet cultivars. So this is one of them, bred at Maharashtra, Dhule. This is AHP 1200. You can see this is the duration is also very less, 78 days to maturity. Toe, it has Togo type of earheads. Toe is a germplasm obtained from Africa. It has caused to increase in grain yield in the Pearl Millet hybrids in India, That was a reason for highly improved productivity in pearl millet. This hybrid has iron content of 89 ppm, zinc content of 45 ppm, and also comparable very good grain yield of 3.2 tons per hectare, dry powder yield of 7 tons per hectare, as well as it is resistant to downy mildew. And this is also one more biofortified hybrid developed from Hisar, Haryana. This was notified in 2017. You can see this has 73 ppm iron and 41 ppm zinc with very good gradient dry powder yield and resistant to downy mildew. And this is one more hybrid with very high iron content of 91 ppm, developed again from Dhule, Maharashtra, and with a medium duration, that is 82 days to flowering, with compact conical type of ear heads, with farmer preferred characteristics, but it is suitable for cultivation for all over India, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Haryana, Punjab, UP, Delhi, and even peninsular India. It is also resistant to downy mildew. So when we, that is with respect to the hybrids technology in pearl millet. So pearl millet, usually when we breed for pearl millet, we focus on this drought tolerance because it is experienced in semi-desert regions of Rajasthan. And two types of drought tolerance we usually breed for. One is seedling drought tolerance and one is the terminal drought tolerance. So seedling drought tolerance is especially in the arid tracts of Rajasthan when we sow the crop with the rain. Immediately after that, if rain is not there, the temperature at the surface, even within the soil, it reaches up to more than 50 degrees centigrades. It goes up to 60 also. So the crop should survive that temperature stress, and it should germinate with that rain, and also it should perform well with the subsequent rainfall. So the seedling heat stress, especially for the highly arid tracts, and terminal drought stress, especially in other parts of India where the crop is grown under residual moisture and where the rainfall is not there towards after flowering, especially the crop is exposed to terminal drought stress. So these two are important. So early and rapid elongation of roots, early vigor, and early flowering is an important indication of drought resistance in pearl millet. So these, depending on the situation, we generally focus and breed material for specific traits. And early flowering is also important, as I have said earlier. Even for terminal drought stress also, if the crop flowers early, then it escapes the terminal drought stress. So for this type, INIAD type of land races were imported from Western Africa, and they have been used in the breeding program. And further to how we characterize it is, we usually calculate the panicle threshing percentage under stress condition. It is a good indicator of terminal drought tolerance. So we record the panicle weight and grain yield. Suppose grain yield is 70% of total panicle weight, 70 to 75%, then it is tolerant to terminal drought stress. Suppose it is 50 or 40%, then it is a susceptible land. So it is a very good indicator for screening for terminal drought stress. So as I've said, in the early times, downy mildew was highly rampant. So breeding program for downy mildew resistance was an integral part of breeding programs. And now almost the material is tolerant to downy mildew. Downy mildew is not a problem in farmers' fields or even in research locations now. But now we have shifted focus towards breeding for blast resistance. They have a large number of resistant sources is available for downy mildew resistance, and even screening techniques have been developed and they are standardized, and resistance being dominant. For all the diseases, usually resistance is dominant. It is contributed by oligogenes or QTLs, single large QTLs. However, they display, of course, the continuous variation in segregating populations. Even through, this is one success story is there in pearl millet. Like usually we don't find any marker-assisted products in cereals or whatever the crop is. But in pearl millet, through marker-assisted breeding program, hybrids with tolerant to downy mildew has been released. So both the parents, the downy mildew QTLs were introgressed. So as a result of this HHB 61 is a popular hybrid in Pearl Millet. It was developed by ICAR in collaboration with ICRISAT. So it is grown over millions of hectares in northern parts of India, even in certain parts of southern India also. So in this hybrid has become susceptible to downy mildew. So in both the parents, these downy mildew resistant genes were incorporated. And after incorporation, one downy mildew resistance hybrid, HHB 67 improved, was released in 2005. And this also became very successful. And of late, in 2021, by incorporating some more QTS, HHB 67 improved -2 has been released. And you have to remember one thing in Pearl Millet. Pearl Millet has very high residual variability. So whatever the parental lines you keep on breeding, this maintenance breeding is very important. When you keep on breeding any product, especially the hybrid that comes into the market, do not survive after 4 years. After 4 years, there are a lot of products coming into the market with very high productivity that will beat that hybrid that is already existing in the market. So any hybrid, the duration generally is 4 years. But there are certain hybrids which are being grown for over a decade also. Especially in summer bajra, you can see Pro-Agro 9444. It is a very popular hybrid that has been grown over 1 or 2 decades, I believe. Except certain few cases, usually the hybrids, they keep on getting replaced. And also the genes, the resistant genes also for downy mildew, suppose the pathotype also, it keeps on changing. So this process of developing resistant hybrids, resistance in the parental lines, yield improvement among these resistant hybrids is also a continuous process. So this HHB 16 improved -1 and -2, they are available. And -2 is being multiplied on a large scale for distribution to farmers. So as I've said, pests are not a big problem in Pearl Millet, but leaf diseases are problematic. Leaf blast has emerged as a serious disease during the past 6 to 7 years in several parts of India. And apart from that, rust is also a major concern, especially in post-rainy season sorghum, Pearl Millet. And for this large-scale field and greenhouse screening techniques have been developed, both for blast and rust. Resistant lines are identified, but breeding material using the resistant lines is under development. So in future, we are also targeting resistant hybrids for blast tolerance. So as I've said, grain nutrition is also taken care in Pearl Millet. This is as an example crop where the hybrids were released with improved iron and zinc contents. So initially, this you can see this ICTP 8203 with high iron zinc. This was very popular with the farmers. It is known for high grain micronutrients and popularly known as Dhan Shakti. And after that also, as I've shown, high iron zinc hybrids are also being developed. And apart from that, there was one golden millet with about 1.37 ppm of beta carotene that was comparable to golden rice. It was developed, it was identified, but that background was photo insensitive. Hence, it is not popular and it was later on dropped. And the yellow endosperm, it is known to act as a proxy to beta carotene. And not much research has grown in this area later on. So we'll conclude with product profiles. So based on all these researchers and what we have been doing since many decades, so we have sat down, we came up like what is needed to different regions, what should be our research focus, what is our benchmarks, and what are the cultivars which we choose for our benchmarks on which we have to develop. So based on that, we came up with product profiles. So the first product profile that we define is for A1 zone that is constituted with Western Rajasthan and drier parts of Gujarat and Haryana. Then the benchmark hybrids are HHB 67 improved, MPMH 21, that is an early variety, early hybrid that is very popular with farmers, notified in 2016. And also RHB 223, that is also developed from Hisar, Haryana. It is also very high yielding hybrid in arid trends. So you can see these are extra early maturity, they're tolerant to drought. They have up to 2.5 to 3 tons per hectare and also fodder yield up to 5.5 tons per hectare also. So what is our profile is we have to breed for early duration, that is less than 45 days to flower, grain yield more than 2 tons per hectare, stover yield more than 3.5 tons per hectare, with downy mildew resistance that is less than 5% should be affected, less than 5% should be the score. Even blast, rust, smut, ergot resistance is also considered for release of any cultivar from All India Coordinated Research Program. And iron should be 42 ppm and zinc should be more than 32 ppm. Sorry, there is a correction. It is more than 32 ppm. The second product profile is for the productive zone, that is A zone, constituted by the states of Rajasthan, Gujarat, Haryana, Punjab, Delhi, UP and MP. The cultivars that we taken as benchmark are MPMH 17. This is a state-grain cultivar, very popular with farmers and released in 2013. And second one is GHB 905, developed from Gujarat. This is also resistant to pests and diseases, released in 2013. So the characteristics is less than 50 days to flower with a defined grain yield and resistance to pests and diseases with the benchmark levels of iron and zinc. The third product profile is for B zone, that is peninsular India, with a duration of less than 50 days to flower, with also defined grain and stover yields and resistant to pest diseases and benchmark levels of iron and zinc. The cultivars that is taken is AHB 1216, the biofortified cultivar we have taken as a benchmark here. The second is the Dhanshakti, the variety, which I have said that ICTP 8203 was improved for iron and zinc and released as Dhanshakti in 2014. These two are taken as benchmark, and the varieties are also popular in B zone in certain pockets. So the one more product profile is for late maturity segment. This segment is also highly popular, where private sector is very much active. So it is very difficult to beat private sector hybrids in this, especially in this zone. So we have taken the benchmark of a private hybrid, that is 86M86 of Pioneer, that was released in 2012. Usually we take it as check, and we have defined the levels of grain yield as 3.5 tons per hectare, stover yield of 6 tons per hectare, with resistant to pest diseases as well as benchmark levels of iron and zinc. So one more product profile is for summer ecology. As I've mentioned, this ProAgro 9444, it is developed in 2004, and it is even popular even today. It is grown in summer cultivation areas of Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu states, and also some farmers grow even in Kharif cultivation areas of Rajasthan, Haryana, UP, MPF, and Gujarat. So apart from that, even 86 and 64 is also grown in summer ecology. And this is of late maturity. Usually late maturity ones are preferred. So usually what we define the product as late duration more than 50 days to flower, with the defined parameters as for other product profiles. So this is one segment where we specially breed for higher levels of iron and zinc. So the benchmark hybrids are HHB 311 from Hisar, RHB 234, Rajasthan Agriculture University developed. This HHB 311 is recently notified in 2020 with a very good yield levels of 3.2 tons per hectare and higher levels of iron and zinc, 83 ppm iron, 39 ppm zinc under medium maturity segments, both of them. So we have, there is no defined duration. We breed usually in all three durations, early, medium, late, for these biofortified hybrids. And graded stover yield, we just look on par with the respective zones profiles and with the defined pest and disease levels and benchmark levels of iron and zinc. So this is it. Thank you everybody for patience listening.